Hello, welcome to day 30 of the Daily Bread. We'll be reading Genesis 39 and 40 chapters, Judges 12, Psalms 39, Proverbs 30, Matthew 27. We'll be reading out of the Scriptures, 2009 version, Genesis 39 on page 42. And Joseph had been taken down to Misraim, Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard of Misraim, bought him from the Israelites who had taken him down there. And it came to be that Yahweh was with Joseph, and he became a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Mizraite. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his eyes, and served him, and he appointed him over his house, and gave it into his hand all that he had. And it came to be from the time that he appointed him over his house and all he had, that Yahweh blessed the Mizraite's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was on all that he had in the house and in the field. And he had left it in Joseph's hand, all that he had. And he did not know what he had except for bread, which he ate. And Joseph was handsome in form and handsome in appearance. And after these events, it came to be that his master's wife lifted up her eyes to Joseph and said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, "Look, my master does not know what is with me in this house, and he has given into my hand all that he has. No one is greater in this house than I, and he has not withheld whatever from me, but you, because you are his wife. And how shall I do this great evil and sin against Elohim?" And it came to be, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he did not listen to her to lie with her, to be with her. And it came to be on a certain day, when Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was inside, that she caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." But he let his garment in her hand, and fled and ran outside. And it came to be, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside, that she called to the men of her house and spoke to them, saying, "See, he has brought in to us a Hebrew to mock us. He came in to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And it came to be, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled and went outside. And she kept his garment with her until his master came home. And she spoke to him these same words, saying, 'The Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came to me to mock me.' So it came to be that as I lifted up my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled outside. And it came to be, when his master heard the words which his wife spoke to him, saying, 'Your servant did to me according to these words,' that his displeasure burned. Then Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the sovereign's prisoners were confined. And he was there in the prison. But Yahweh was with Joseph, and extended loving commitment to him, and he gave him favor in his eyes of the prison warden. And the prison warden gave into the hand of Joseph all the prisoners who were in prison, and whatever was done there was his doing. The prison warden did not look into any point that was under Joseph's hand, because Yahweh was with him, and whatever he did, Yahweh made it prosper. Chapter 40. And after these events, it came to be that the cupbearer and the baker of the sovereign of Misraim sinned against their master, the sovereign of Misraim, the Pharaoh. And Pharaoh was wroth with his two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. So he put them in confinement in the house of the captain of the guard, in the prison, the place where Joseph was prisoner. And the captain of the guard put Joseph in charge of them, and he served them, so that they were in confinement for some time. Then the cupbearer and the baker and the sovereign of Misraim, who were confined in prison, dreamed a dream, both of them, each man's dream in one night, and each man's dream with its own interpretation. And Joseph came in to them in the morning and looked at them and saw that they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officers, who were with him in confinement of his master's house, saying, Why do you look sad today? And they said to him, We each have a dream, and there is no one to interpret. And Joseph said to them, Do not interpretations belong to Elohim? Relate them to me, please. So the chief cupbearer related his dream to Joseph and said, See, in my dream a vine was before me, and in the vine there are 3 branches. And it was thorough, it budded. And as it was thorough, it budded. Its blossoms shot forth, and its clusters brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. So I took the grapes and pressed them into the Pharaoh's cup, and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said to him, This is the interpretation of it. 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days, Pharaoh is going to lift your head and restore you to your place, and you shall put Pharaoh's cup in his hand according to the former ruling when you were his cupbearer. But remember me when this is well with you, and please show loving commitment to me, and mention me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this house. For truly I was stolen away from the land of the Hebrews, and also have done naught that they put me into the dungeon. And the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, and said to Joseph, I also was in my dream, and saw 3 white baskets were on my head, and in the uppermost basket all kinds of baked goods for the Pharaoh, and the birds ate them out of the basket of my head. And Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Yet within 3 days Pharaoh is going to lift your head from you and hang you in a tree, and the birds shall eat your flesh from you. And on the 3rd day, Pharaoh's birthday, it came to be that he had made a feast for all his servants. And he lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and on the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief cupbearer to his post of cupbearer again, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted. And the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph, but forgot. Judges 12, page 268. And the men of Ephraim gathered together and passed over toward Saphron, and said to Jephthah, Why did you pass over to fight against the children of Ammon, and did not call us to go with you? We are going to burn your house over you with fire. And Jephthah said to them, My people and I were in great struggle with the children of Ammon. And when I called you, you did not save me out of their hands. And I saw that you would not save me. Then I took my life in my hands and went against the children of Ammon. And Yahweh gave them into my hand. And why have you come up to me today to fight against me? Jephthah then gathered together all the men of and fought against Ephraim. And the men of Gilead struck Ephraim, because they had said, You Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim in the midst of Ephraim, in the midst of Midish. And Gilead captured the fords of the Jordan that faced Ephraim. And it came to be, when the fugitives of Ephraim said, Let me pass over, the men of Gilead said to him, Are you an Ephraimite? If he said no, then he would say to them, Please say Sheboleth, and he would say Sheboleth, for he was unable to pronounce it right. Then they seized him and slew him in the fords of the Jordan, and at that time there fell 42,000 Ephraimites. And Jephthah ruled Israel 6 years, and Jephthah the Gilead died, and was buried in one of the cities of Gilead. And after him, Ibstan of Bethlehem ruled Israel. And he came to be to have 30 sons and 30 daughters. He sent abroad and brought in 30 daughters for his sons, and he ruled Israel 7 years. And Ibstan died and was buried in Bethlehem. And after him, Elon the Zubulite ruled Israel, and he ruled Israel 10 years. And Elon the Zubulite died and was buried in Avalon in the land of Zebulun. And after him, Abdon, son of Hilite the Perlite, ruled Israel. And he had 40 sons and 30 grandsons, who rode on 70 young donkeys. And he ruled Israel 8 years. And Abson, son of Hilite the Phirite, died and was buried in Paran in the land of Ephraim, in the mountains of the Amalekites. End of Judges 12. Psalms 39, page 668. I have said, let me guard my ways against sinning with my tongue. Let me guard my mouth with my muzzle, while the wrongdoers before me. I became dumb, keeping still. I was silent from good, and my pain was stirred. My heart was hot within me. While I was meditating, the fire burned. Then I spoke with my tongue. Yahweh, let me know my end, and the measure of my days, what it is. Let me know how short-lived I am. See, you have made my days as handbreadths, and my lifetime is non-existent before you. Only all men standing are all breath, Salah. As but a shadow each one walks. They busy themselves only in vain. He heaps up wealth, but knows not who gathers them. And now, Yahweh, what do I wait for? My expectancy is in you. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Do not make me the reproach of the foolish. I was dumb. I did not open my mouth, because it was you who did it. Turn aside your stroke from me. I am overcome by the blow of your hand. When you chastise man for crookedness with reproofs, you consume what he loves like a moth. All men are but a breath, Salah. Hear my prayer, O Yahweh, and give ear to my cry. Do not be silent at my tears, for I am a sojourner with you, a settler as all my fathers were. Look away from me, that I might brighten up before I go away. End of Psalms 39. Proverbs 30. The words of Egor, son of Yegaf, a message. This man declared to Ithel to Ucal, for I am more stupid than anyone, and do not have an understanding of a man, and I have not learned wisdom, that I should know the knowledge of the set apart one, who has gone up to the heavens and come down. Who has gone up to the heavens and come down? Who has gathered the wind in his fist? Who has bound the waters in his garment? Who established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name, if you know it? Every word of Ella is tried. He is a shield to those taking refuge in him. Do not add to his words, lest he reprove you, and you be found a liar. 2 matters I have asked of you. Deny them not to me before I die. Remove falsehood and a lying word far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me my lawful bread, lest I become satisfied and deny you, and say, Who is Yahweh? And lest I be poor and steal, and seize the name of my Elohim. Do not slander a servant to his master, lest he curse you, and you be found guilty. There is a generation that curses its father, and does not bless its mother. There is a generation clean in its own eyes, but not washed from its own filth. There is a generation, oh, how haughty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There is a generation whose teeth are swords, and whose jaw teeth are knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among men. The leech has 2 daughters, give. 3 are not satisfied, 4 that say never enough. Sheol and the barren womb, soil and not satisfied with water, and fire which never says enough. An eye that mocks his father and scorns to obey his mother. Ravens of the wadi dig it out, and young eagles eat it. 3 matters are marvelous for me, or too marvelous for me, and 4 which I do not understand. The way of an eagle in the heavens, the way of a snake on a rock, the way of a ship in the heart of the sea, and the way of a man with a young woman, or maiden. This is the way of an adulterous woman. She shall eat and wipe her mouth and say, I have not done wickedness. Under 3 matters the earth trembles, and under 4 it is unable to bear. Under a servant when he reigns, and a fool when he is satisfied with food. Under a hated woman who marries, and a female servant who supplants her mistress. There are 4 matters which are little on the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their food in the summer. The rock badgers are a weak folk, yet they make their homes in the crags. The locusts have no sovereign, yet they go out in formation. A spider takes hold with its 2 hands, and it's in kings' palaces. There are 3 matters that are going well, and 4 are good for walking. A lion which is mighty among beasts, and does not turn away from facing all. A greyhound and a male goat, and a sovereign whose army is with him. If you have been foolish in lifting up yourself, or if you have plotted evil, put your hand to your mouth. For as milk under pressure brings forth curds, and as a nose under pressure brings forth blood, so wrath under pressure brings forth strife. Yeah, that's the end of Proverbs 30. Will be Matthew 27, page 953. These last 2 chapters of Matthew are going to be hard for me. Just putting it out there. And morning having come, all the priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Yeshua, so as to put him to death. And having bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judah Then Jude, who delivered him up, having seen that he had been condemned, repented, returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and to the elders, saying, I have sinned in delivering up innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? You see to it. And throwing down the pieces of silver in the dwelling place, he left and went and hanged himself. And the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, It is not right to put them into the treasury, seeing that they are a price of blood. So they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field for the burial of strangers. Therefore the field has been called the field of blood until today. Then it was filled with what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, that they took 30 pieces of silver, the price of him who was pierced, on whom the children of Israel set a price, and gave them for a potter's field, as Yahweh has ordered me. Ezekiel 11, chapter 11, 12 and 13. And Yeshua stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, Are you the sovereign of the Judean Jews? And Yeshua said to him, You say it. And as he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he answered not. Then Pilate said to him, Do you not hear how much they witness against you? And he did not answer, not one word, so that the governor wondered much. And the festival the governor used to release, and at the festival the governor used to release to the crowd one prisoner whom they wished. And they had then a well-known prisoner called Barabbas. And when they were assembled, Pilate said to them, Whom do you wish I release to you, Barabbas or Yeshua, who was called Messiah? For he knew that because of envy they had delivered him up. And as he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent to him, saying, Have none at all to do with this righteous man, for I have suffered much today in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the crowds that they should ask for Barabbas and to destroy Yeshua. And the governor answering said to them, Which of the two do you wish to release to you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, What then shall I do to Yeshua, who is called Messiah? They all said to him, Let him be impaled. And the governor said, Indeed, what evil has he done? And they were crying out all the more, saying, Let him be impaled. And when Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, but rather an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this righteous one. You shall see to it. And all the people answering said, His blood be on us and our children. Then he released Barabbas to them, but having Yeshua whipped, he delivered him over to be impaled. When the soldiers took the governor, then the soldiers of the governor took Yeshua into the court and gathered the entire company of soldiers around him. And having stripped him, they put a scarlet robe on him and planted a crown of thorns they put on his head and a reed in his right hand. And they kneeled down before him and mocked him, saying, Greetings, sovereign of the Judean. And spitting on him, they took the reed and struck him in the head. And when they had mocked him, they took the robe off of him and put his own garments on him and led him away to be impaled. And as they were going out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. They compelled him to bear his stake. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of the skull, they gave him wine mixed with bile to drink. And after tasting, he would not drink it. And having him impaled, they divided his garments, casting lots. It might be filled what was spoken by the prophets. They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Psalms 22:18. And sitting down they guarded him, and they put up over his head the writing charging him, "This is Yeshua, the sovereign of the Judean." Then two robbers were impaled with him, one on the right and another on the left. And those passing by were blaspheming him, shaking their heads. Psalms 22:7. And saying, "You who destroyed the dwelling place and built it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the son of Elohim, come down from the stake." And likewise the chief priests with the scribes and elders mockingly said, "He saved others, he is unable to save himself. If he is the sovereign of Israel, let him now come down off the stake, and we shall believe him. He trusted in Elohim. Let him rescue him now if he desires it." Psalms 22:8. For he said, "I am the son of Elohim." And also the robbers who were impaled with him reviled him, saying the same. And from the 6th hour there was darkness from over the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Yeshua cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, la shamach," that is, my El, why have you forsaken me? Psalms 22:1. Some of those standing there, having heard this, said, "This one calls Elijah?" And immediately one of them ran and took a sponge, filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. Psalm 69:21. But the rest said, "Leave it. Let us see if Elijah comes to save him." And Yeshua cried out again with a loud voice and gave up his spirit. And see, the veil of the dwelling place was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth was shaken, and the rocks were split, and the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the set apart ones who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the set apart city and appeared to many. And when the captain and those with him who were guarding Yeshua saw the earthquake and all that took place, they feared exceedingly, saying, "Truly this was the son of Elohim." And many women who followed Yeshua from Galilee, attending him, were there watching from a distance, among whom were Mary from Magdala, and Mary the mother of Jacob and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedei's sons. And when evening came, there was a rich man named Ramaneth, named Joseph, for whom had also become a taught one of Yeshua. And he went to Pilate and asked for the body of Yeshua. Then Pilate commanded the body be given. And having taken the body, Joseph wrapped it in clean linen and laid it in his new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. And he rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb and went away. And Mary from Magdala was there, and the other Mary, sitting opposite the tomb. On the next day, which was after the preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered together to Pilate, saying, Master, remember while he was alive how the deceiver said, After 3 days I am raised. Command then that the tomb be safeguarded until the 3 days, lest his taught ones come by night and steal him away, and should say to the people, He was risen from the dead, and the last deception shall be worse than the first. So Pilate said to them, You have a watch. Go, safeguard it as you know. And they went and safeguarded the tomb, sealing the tomb and setting the watch. It's the end of Matthew 27. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. Talk to the Father.